approach that? What would you be looking for as a, a trade formation and technique, right? So that's where you start planning in advance. If it gets there and if that scenario unfolds. Okay, so that's it. That's again, you do this all, again, this is to me, and for me anyways, this is the procedure, right? This is the process, this is the protocol, right? Don't know what's going to happen. I'm planning for different potential events that may unfold. How would I want to play those? Are they part of my trade plan? Okay, capiche? Also, just one last thing, again, it's a half day for me, by the way. All right, I got a meeting between 12 and 2 today, and I am DFD, done for the day week. So charts will remain up. And again, just I posted that Yumi post up there. I read it last night. I reread it again this morning, and I got to say, it's probably like I said, it's probably ranks up there in the top 10. She has some very, very good posts, right? You should if you're not paying attention to Yumi at all, or you haven't, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really should, because really, I'm here to help coach you. I'm here to help guide you, but ultimately, you still need to be your own coach. All right, and uh, she expresses a tremendous amount of wisdom. Let me tell you, right? Yeah, Yumi's books are very good. I've read them both. I have them read them both. Um, and I've read them twice actually. To be honest with you, I have read them twice. No word of a lie. But her daily posts are, I mean, they're just phenomenal. Okay, they are just very, very good. So again, it's being like, just a daily coach for yourself. You know, um, I'm not always going to be there, and this is a way of staying engaged. And think about it: if you were a coach, right, and you were coaching somebody else, who maybe a youngster, right? What approach would you take, right, to coach them effectively? So she really offers concrete, not just the problem, which we all kind of know, we all have these problems, right? But solutions. But the solutions are only as good as you contemplate over them and then work on them, do the work, So, anyways, I think it's in one of her top 10 category. Her tweets from the books. Uh, some of the most of the they're not verbatim from her book. Okay, the concepts are, but her tweets are not verbatim from the books. So if you think you can get away with just reading her tweets, that could be. I mean, you could be very comfortable with that, alone. But again, she does. The concepts are all from her book, though, no question. All right, let's have a good session. 9:30. Giddy up, pony. Let's see if we have a good crack at this today. All right, expect some volatility with these options expiring, etc. All right, could get a little snappiness. Again, focus on your A+ trade setups. And again, capital preservation Friday. And again, be sure to stay disciplined. So, all right, very good, very good. Let's move this over here. Okay, you got A10 coming into view. All right. Snappiness. All right. So 12s. I had 15s as a target, 15s through 20s. So that came very, very close. Very close indeed. Plus or minus 5. Okay. Game on. Stays on my desk. Yeah. Yeah. It's, even if you just read a chapter, you know, her chapters are very short. So, even if you read just kind of like a daily chapter, it's not like you got to read it like a novel, right? You don't want to read it like a novel, actually. Start your day with a cup of Yumi. All right. So again, capital preservation day today. Again, really, be extra. If you've had a good week, again, capital preservation. If you haven't had a good week, guess what? Capital preservation. You don't want to try to push it on a Friday. I've done that in the past. You know, I have, admittedly. Sometimes it works. And you feel like a champ. But again, Fridays are strange days psychologically, and then you can really get yourself in trouble at times. So just stay disciplined, just like any other day. You should treat it like any other day. Yeah. Start your day with a cup of Yumi. All right, let's see what the expiration players want to do here. They jammed them to slam them. Who knows? All right, so again, frame out the market, right? Again, you can simply frame it out, right, with the value area at this stage. And they kind of correspond to those ATR extended lines that we put on there yesterday. All right, so there's your basically our sandbox right now. Again, a lot of this stuff is just straight order flow. The expiration stuff. People just kind of their positions are getting cleared out, covered, etc. Both sides. All right, so it's just this order flow. Right, and again, we're right around the midpoint, right, VWAP. So this is where they like to do. This is the fairest area at this stage, right, until they move them away. So they'll try to do as much business as they can around that VWAP area. Again, you'll find many times, when prices extend away from VWAP, that's why we use, the standard deviations levels to kind of measure how far price has gone away from, the core price point, which is VWAP. I don't have the standard deviation showing on the chart. It just makes it too messy. But you should probably have those on yours. It gets too far extended, 2.5 standard deviations. There's a good chance, there's a higher chance that it reverts back to the mean. All right. So do they clean it up and move it higher, or they clean it up and move it lower? Well, no idea. What order was canceled? Oh, uh-huh. All right, so that's holding around the. So our line in the sand today, by the way, is 6,700. So there's your VWAP right there at 6,700. So that's our line in the sand. Again, 05s, 07s up there. Let's see if there's a sell response. It gets up there again. They sucked up the sellers there. That was a little bit of a premature, well, not so really, but shift on the A10. Another minute or so, we could have gotten a nice long out of that. It kind of snookered us right at the edge. Chopped around too much at that level. Okay. All right, just back in the middle here. Not doing much. Tom, the 1,000 lot. I just think it's options related stuff. To be honest with you, I don't know if I try not to read too much into any of that stuff. I just kind of, given options expiration and the large contract sizes and the notional that's expiring. Um, you know, there tends to be a lot more, block trades, during the options, during the expiry.
Once you have your direction, then the question is, so once you feel very confident in your direction, then we start looking for, okay, so what is, all right, that's a nice pop there.
Again, snappy action, everyone. Just again, if these are not your rhythms, play to your rhythms. Again, options expiration can be a wonky time. Manny got a blackjack. Cool. So just play to your plan.
Nice, 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 guys. It's working out really nicely, really nicely.
All right, buyers still are in control.
What's our profile
Right,
say here?
having absorbed those sellers, anyways. So now again, you can start seeing some key areas now. Start lining them up. Right, draw your pivot. Again, these are very important pivot areas here where the market held. Right. So again, if
Profile.
and when they
Scaling on
they
profile
give up
charts
the
is
ghost,
always a
right, they
challenge.
could be a big change.
All right, guys, we're on
So
our way
now,
here, holding it.
right, it's solid
We
green.
have this nice trade here. We're up about, I don't know, 8 or 9 points on it, and still running. Uh, yeah. All right.
You know what happens when you
we're at, we're at resistance
reread
here.
the books. All right, you're gonna pick up more and more
Everything is long here.
That you may, your mind may have overlooked, in previous reads. Just like watching a movie or listening to a song. Right? You listen to a groovy song, right? And you like the groove, you like the rhythm, and that kind of catches you first, and then you start getting
I'm
into the
gonna adjust the
lyrics,
stop here, guys. I
and
don't
then
want
before
this
you know it, you're
back in
singing the
on
lyrics,
take a loss on
right,
it. So I'm
by
gonna
heart.
protect some here. Hide
So
behind
that's
these
kind of
little
the same,
volume
it's because
nodes
you've listened to it
and
over
hope
and
that the
over and
market
over
keeps
again.
going. I wish I had bigger
So
side
same
on
thing
this,
in
but I don't.
reading, books or watching movies.
Yeah.
What is the most famous line in Jaws? Anybody know? You remember it if you've watched the movie many, many times? What's the most famous line? You're gonna need a bigger boat. Okay? That's what I mean about, remembering, right? And that's the same thing because I mean, I don't know if your mind will have
We're
caught
at
on to that
FTX resistance
in
here,
the
but the
first
high
watching,
doesn't
but
look
I'm
like it's
sure
in.
everybody here has watched Jaws more than once, and that's the most famous line. So when you start reading, over and over of something of interest, naturally, right? It has to interest you. You will start remembering things, but not only that, you'll pick up new things that you didn't pick up in your, previous reads. So if you think you say, "Oh, I read the book already," yeah, I read the book too twice. I could actually read it again, and I'd probably pick up more things.
All right, here we go.
Right?
We
So
just
the
got to
more
know
you
we're
read
crossing
something,
above
again, it's all about repetition.
the upper band on this chart here. So we just crossed this
And it's no
upper
different
band,
with
guys.
any of this stuff. Repetition is really a key. And if you think you've
We're going
repeated
to struggle a
something
little bit right here,
often enough,
55.60.
say I want to repeat it over and over again. Okay? Yeah, right. Videos, watching the videos, exercising. How many sit-ups do you do? Do you just do one sit-up and say, "Okay, I'm done." Or one push-up? "Okay, I'm done." No, you do repetitive, right? Everything is repetition. No different in trading. But here's the key: you should really find pleasure in repetition. Okay. I dream about the first pullback now. I'm playing my guitar, right? Again,
I don't like
riffs,
this 66
right?
SPX
Riffs. They're
6650
repetitive.
resistance, but
When you
I
listen
think
to
if
any
we break
music,
it up,
it's
we
that
could run another
repetition.
10,
That's
but
all
I'm
it
going to
is.
book
It's
what I have
repetition.
here because
Rhythm,
it's Friday
repetition.
and it's OPEX.
No different with trading. You got to relate other things to the trading world. I'm going to repeat the same thing over though. You see repetitive patterns. May not be perfectly the same, but they have characteristics of similar, right? So again, repetitive patterns.
Looks like they found some support there at that volume node.
Ram says, "I dream about the first pullback now." Ram, get a life.
Yeah, we have these two one-to-ones right here.
That's great, but get a life.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny. But
Here we go.
wait a minute. This is my life.
Obviously we don't want to be
It sits
initiating
far from that
anything into
repetition.
these highs right here, right? In fact, I'm going to peel some more off here and take some off there. Just because I want to book the profit. It's Friday, it's OPEX.
Back to tens.
My expectations are managed.
All right, give us a dip back down towards the middle.
And
Yeah.
with that,
What's that called, by the way? Oh, there's a term for it. How people remember similar. It wasn't exact, but it's similar. What's the name of that? Does anybody know? There's a name for it. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. Uh, you know what I'm talking about. Cripes.
yeah, you see, we hit that SPX
Hit that.
resistance and we just faded.
No, it's not mnemonics.
So yeah, it's just time to book some and take some off here. I took some more off. I'm gonna leave this stop here at break even, just because it's this PA account. I mean, it's this.
Not what I'm searching for.
Just took one off. Okay. All right, guys. This was a good test run. Let's see how this recorded.
It's like what Tom says. You know, most people think we're going to need a bigger boat, but it's actually you're going to need a bigger boat. You know what I'm saying?
Nice 6-point trade there to start the day.
There's a word for it.
So we understand what's happening, right? So ES traded up into 67.12, which is equivalent to the
Mandela effect.
650, right? So immediately
that's
a
what
reaction
it is.
there.
It's the Mandela
Even though the
effect.
high doesn't look like typically what I would expect to see at a high.
Mandela effect.
It's OPEX,
Thank
right?
you,
So we don't know what to expect.
Tom wins the QP today.
I felt better about taking the 7 points and just calling it right there, because if it does break out, and maybe it does, I just don't want to be part of the up and down anymore. It's Friday. It's been a good week. Profit protect mode.
Thank you, Tom. That's what I was searching for, the Mandela effect.
So you can see here, we still have, the picture hasn't changed very much, other than we know what the underlying conditions are, right? So we know right now that, okay, so it's OPEX, right? We have support at 66, roughly 66.95, to resistance up at 67.10, right? So, I mean, we could just range bound and ping pong all day while options expire, and we go through a theta burn where market makers are just kind of keeping price in check. However, what I will say is that it seems like, I don't know, this is just a gut read, that if we fail below this early low, I mean, look, if we're looking at this chart here, this is a 50. This is okay. Let's bump this. I had it on. Let's bump this out. This chart's a little bit messy, right? Let me just pull up here. Much cleaner chart. 60-minute. What was our low? 66.96, right? So, in my opinion, if we lose this low here, we're gonna trade down. We're gonna sweep this 66.78 low. I mean, we may find some support here, depending on what. There's a trend line here, but wouldn't expect too much. All right. That's going to call it for me for today.
All
right. I was chatting with a buddy of mine
back
today.
To the middle again. Just all OPEX related stuff.
Chatting with a buddy of mine, another trader, a friend of mine who trades from overseas, and we were discussing our plans for the day. It's always good to have someone that you bounce ideas off of, right? trading in and of itself is an isolating endeavor. Kind of sit in front of these screens and oftentimes, you know, we become our own worst enemy, right? I call it fixating on the charts, where you're just staring at the charts and you can see anything in these
Really
charts.
heavy. There is heavy volume in here. I'm again just looking at order flow. Really heavy 4 deep. 5,000 contracts. I mean, as a whole, it's very, very heavy. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Let's see.
Again, you see support coming in there, but no real momentum, right? So typically, what I would think of. So today
I'm
was
just
a
looking
regular
at
Friday.
I'm just looking at order flow in here.
Let's see what
All
David's
right, you
talking
can
about.
see really deep clusters here. All right, very deep clusters. All right, so heavy, heavy, heavy. So this is all kind of the big boys expiration kind of related stuff. It's probably not all. It's not all options expiration, but it's heavy. You know.
All right, guys, this position survives, right? We're still long 6,700.
I mean, even up towards the high.
We had
You get 4
the
deep.
nice. I think it was a 7-point trade.
You know,
Ultimate 7-point trade. The first
no
scale
real
was, I think,
excess
3 to 4
here.
points.
So just really heavy,
So that puts
heavy
that account at
concentration. So
about
again,
11 points for the day,
all
which
part
I'm
and
really
parcel
happy
with,
about.
you know, options expiration stuff.
Look at that, right back to the highs. This market is really bullish. You know, I mean, even if we don't break out right now, it doesn't pay to fade. It's hard enough to get on the right side of things, and we all know how being on the wrong side, it just makes for a long day.
That is, yes, Raj. That is Smash Alito.
Yeah, we go. You see, oh,
Yeah, he
right.
has some
We bump into that
extraordinarily good.
67,
So actually
66.50
here, if you take a
SPX.
look,
On ES, we're
this is
looking at
his
67.08, 67.10, and this is right there.
workspace.
Early UpX rhythms, man. If we're gonna break out,
Okay,
we're gonna break out
so
up. But,
yeah, there's no way in hell, a gazillion years that I could create the same workspace with all the labeling and so I bought it. I mean, there are tools that I buy that you know uh, that I display with us, but I give him 100%. If you like this chart book and the profile, if you love, buy his Smash Lido stuff. Okay, it's not that expensive. I mean, it really isn't for what he gives you, for what he's done here. It's phenomenal. Is it available on Ninja? I don't know. Yeah, you got a Substack. I don't know if it is. I think it's just Sierra Chart, Manny. Yeah, I think it's only Sierra Chart. But to me, there's honestly second to none. I mean, if you take a look at mine, right? So the one I created over here, I mean, it's adequate, right? You know, it does the job.
guys, we just held this low
You
here.
know, the one I
Then
created, but it really has no labels, you
triggering a
know,
long
or
trade
anything
for us.
like that. So I mean, compare this.
Get this
I mean, I like
ratio.
mine to you know, to a degree. I like mine, but I really like his. Right, and I got one for the NQ. Created one for the NQ as well. But I really like his. So if you're interested in it, if you have Sierra, smash Lido. Yeah, the Substack his Substack is free, and he does a real nice job every evening, by the way. So again, take advantage of the free stuff. If you like his charts for
Here we go.
Sierra,
All right, we're printing that blue Renko here. You
buy
can
him.
see it
I mean, it's
right down
fantastic
here on
stuff.
this chart.
All right.
That's going to signal. That's going to trigger a long trade.
And yeah, and he, you know, he does. I spoke with him. All right. He doesn't mind, you know, me posting in my own work. It's part of my own work. All he asks is, you know, when you have a chance, he says, just kind of spread the word. I said, absolutely. You know,
You see, but
no
it doesn't.
question.
Here's
So
my issue with taking the signal. Like regular, normally, if this was a normal Friday, I'd be
I
all
am
right.
an open source person. We have our work here, and I'm proud of our work that we've done. But there are other people that have done excellent work, and if I can use their work in our work to enhance our work, I will do it as long as I have permissions, and I'd be happy to say go buy his stuff. So. 31:15.
Yeah, you see fade again. That's why I don't want to get involved. I mean, look at it, right? We just went up there and bang, we bumped up against 6650 again and faded, right? So, you know, you've done this. We do this long enough. And you just know when one of the days to be aggressive and one of the days to sit back and just be observant, learn the rhythms,
Yeah, I get his email, his Substack email every evening as well.
and grab a bite to eat, which is a shot over the bow to let you guys know what I'm about to do in about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. A great morning. We had the 11-point long. That worked out really well. Super happy about that. No, sometimes
And actually, you'll see many times I kind of rotate in the daily trade strategy. I kind of rotate in the daily trade strategy charts. So many times my own, at other times the Smash Lido. Again, he doesn't mind that at all. As long as I have permissions to use it, I'm good.
yeah, you see, look, we faded again. Guys, you know, it's most
All
important
right.
that we stay safe, right? Like, so this is not
Made
a
a little bit of progress today, but again, really kind of just keep in mind that capital preservation idea.
yeah, David just said it. You hear David, right? Yeah.
I think overall this week has been somewhat of a chop fest. Again, some opportunities, very good opportunities at times. At other times, it's just, you know, just nothing there. I think once we start moving away from, you know, this Fed meeting and everything else, things will should start opening up a little bit. You know.
So you know the play here might be right. I mean, if you really wanted it, maybe you know, I think if we break above here, or if we break above 6710, SPX 6650, you know, I think you can get the 20 point. I mean, sorry, 10 points out of that. 6710 would bring a test of yesterday's high at 6719. So, I mean, it might justify it, but again, it's all about the day's rhythms, right? It's all about the expectations for today's rhythms. I'm not sure that I really want to attack this market, especially after having an 11-point win off the open. All right. All right, so just giving a rundown here, you can see on our higher time frame on our Renko chart, we're in retracement. We're testing these triggers. I mean, no, typically, like I said, this is a long setup. Right here off of the fib support, right, and we have our moving averages now kind of consolidating, going sideways. About to, there we go, spiking up. Let's see if we can breach 6650 on SPX. Let's see if we can breach 6710 on ES. Again, our meter though, right? A short-term meter here, you can see that every time we come up into 6708 to 10, it just, they're stacking offers, you know? Uh, so yeah, I think it's the right call is to sit tight here. Again, if you want to trade it, you could try to squeeze something out here. On the long side, I don't see any shorts on my stuff. We are above everything. I need to see conditions change quite a bit here. I mean, first off, we'd have to get below the early low, which is 66.9650. Breach that, then we roll into the 66.91, and then I guess we could target 66.79. But I just find it hard to believe. This market's been so bullish lately. Um, yeah.
All right, all right.
Here we go. I've got to reconnect this uh, this account here.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend here. Another beautiful weekend. We're so sportive. Must say where we are here in the Northeast all summer. Unbelievable. You had a question on that? Can you explain what you are meant by the 8-10 shifty early bull bear? Oh, yeah. So, no, it effectively did what it was supposed to do. All right, all right. So it didn't really change early. I mean, I kind of said that I used that term, but what I'm saying is right at the edge. So when it shifted right here, okay. I mean, and again, on the shift, we'll get stopped out. Okay. On the shift, we'll get stopped out. But what I was saying is, if it's just kind of just another, give us another bar or two, and then we would have gotten, at least the first out.
Guys, look,
That's
here
what
we
I
go
was
back down
concerned
again,
about,
right?
right?
So now we're back
And
down, just testing that
but it did what it
6703.
was supposed to do. So as soon as it hits the shift criteria, it shifts, and then it's GTFO. Okay, so it did what it was supposed to do. But what I was just saying is like just one or two extra ticks perhaps, and the market, you see how it just snapped right back, and then we would have gotten at least a partial exit on that.
Actually, so I'm
All
still
right, and
still
then
have this one contract
we were
long here
actually
with a
would have
stop at
gotten
a little bit
more
over break
because
even, just to cover
if it
cost
had
on it.
not shifted, you see where it went. Right, so that's kind of the idea. It's like son of a bitch. But we're in the short right now. This should pay. There you go. There's one click there, so that paid. Yeah, so that paid. Now notice again, we talk about, since I have the chart up, we have this theoretical average line, right? So the original theoretical, the real original
You got a
average,
good system going.
okay, is the
I really like
entry.
your stuff. Yeah, so guys, look.
Once you
Oh man,
have
look
an
at that.
exit, all right, that effectively that break even or entry line moves up or away, right? Next exit here, right, it will move again higher, right? So that's called, that's the theoretical average. So now the theoretical average essentially is, what that means is that's the theoretical cost. Okay, so basically the theoretical cost is 1075, whereas the original entry was 08. Does that make sense to everybody? Just so you have some education here, right? So that's what that means by theoretical average, is the original cost, and then once you take an exit, that cost basis on the balance of your position moves up, moves higher. So what can you do with that, right? So if you want to just say, okay, my stop is up here, my original stop is up here, I've taken a profit, all right? So instead of putting your stop at entry, which a lot of people do, that is not a break even level, right?
All right.
And a lot of times, you know what happens, right? Price comes right back up, son of a bitch, to your entry, and then drops, right? It's like, it seems like the market conspires against you for that. It doesn't really, but it seems that way, right? It's just in the rotations. So what you can do here in this case, right? If you wanted to move your stop tighter to a break even
Okay, so
level,
here,
that's
look, we're
essentially would be your break
pulling
even.
back into this chart right here.
Kind of think
Look,
of it that way,
so
right? So
now
you
we're
can move your
below our
stop
moving
down
averages
to
on the
break
larger time
even.
frame,
It's
and
not
we're
an
pulling right
entry,
back up
but
into here. I think it gives
you're
us a good
now
shot.
risk free
Gosh, and then we're running right
on
back
your
into that
entire
resistance. So I'm
position.
going to hold off. You know what?
And again,
We
that's
go
kind of a
below, we
position
fill the
we want to
gap. I think
always
that's a
be
straight.
in. Ideally, is once I get a trade on, I want to be in a risk-free position.